How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. The Bengals leave us kind of feeling like we did in that Steelers-Bengals playoff game years back. Remember the penalties to end the game put the Steelers essentially in field goal range to win the game. I mean, a little bit different here, but the same feeling to an extent. Seeing Osai get that personal foul penalty, in the moment of the game, you watch, it's like, oh, do they need to call that? Well, maybe not, but no, you watch it now, it's like, nah, he was like 3 steps out of bounds, and he still had his hand on his back. It was like, on the sideline right away, it's like you gotta attack the quarterback and make sure he doesn't get an extra 2 or 3 yards. That's why I don't like those really close calls on the sideline, because it's like, well, if you don't play aggressive, the quarterback's going to sneak an extra 5 yards, and that puts him in field goal range, so you have to play aggressive. But in Osai's case here, I mean, the guy, he had his hand on his back still, whether Mahomes was embellishing that or not. Guy's dang near on the bench, and he still had his hands on. So that was just a boneheaded play by Osai, who had an outstanding game, by the way. That's going to be something that haunts this guy until next season, I'm sure. He gets a chance to kind of redeem himself, but nonetheless, let's talk about the officiating of this game a little bit. I thought it was a pretty clean game. First 3 quarters, I didn't really notice it. I thought, this is a balanced game. Refs are doing the best they can to do. It really didn't, things didn't start to come up, and you started to pay a little bit more attention to things until the Chiefs got an extra or a free play there on that 3rd down play where the clock wasn't reset. I still don't understand that play, because was it Sterito up in the booth or whatever that was explaining, like, oh, the reason they had to stop that play is because they had to reset the clock and fix the clock because of this or that. They stopped the play before that to fix the clock, and then they put the ball back down ready to snap, and they had to fix it a second time. I didn't get it. Nonetheless, whatever. That was definitely a questionable play there. What really bothered me was the final 30 seconds of this football game. Yeah, there's, the Burrow, whatever, a lot of people talk about Burrow getting shoved in that roughing the passer. That never got called on him, and they picked it up anyway, whatever. Oh, the intentional grounding, that was close. But what it was clear as day is if they was going to play to let these guys play or don't let them play, one or the other, either be nitpicky or don't. It didn't feel like they was being that in that final 8 minutes, and it felt like it was favored one way or the other, because you watch that Bengals on that punt with 30 seconds left. Guy brings the ball back more or whatever, and you watch Batchy clearly gets nailed in the back, coming in for that tackle, blocking it back there about 35-yard line. You stop him there, it's a 15-yard difference. Or the play, you throw the flag, you throw it back 10 yards, ball's at 25. Then they really don't get into field goal range. Then you watch again the Patrick Mahomes scramble personal foul. You look, I'm not an official. I'm not. But if you watch that play where they get the personal foul, Mahomes scrambles, Hendrickson's about cocked back like this when he's getting around an offensive line. If you can't see that that's holding the guy, I don't know. At the end of the day, though, it's like the calls are tough. It's tough to, you always want to look back at the officials' calls, the play calls like that. But the Bengals really had a chance to take this out of the officials' hands and win the football game. They had a 2nd and 3. They had a 3rd and 3. They took deep shots twice. They didn't convert on either one of them. And that kind of hurt them. It really hurt them. They had a chance, quick pass, pick up the first downs, do what you got to do, move the football there. They called the timeout on 2nd and 8. I thought that was, the second it happened, I was like, no. You don't do that, not against Patrick Mahomes and company, because it's 2nd and 8. All you have to do is throw an incompletion, and it's 3rd and long. And what happens, you don't pick up the first down, and you give them Kansas City the football back at 30 seconds after a chance to take a field goal, which they did. The Bengals had 3 timeouts. You run to the line right there. 10 seconds off the clock. Bro's master at getting this team to the line quickly. Run an extra 10 seconds off. Then you snap the ball if you don't pick it up. Or if you get it, you still have 3 timeouts, 30 seconds. Plenty of time to move the ball 25, 30 yards down the field to get in field goal range. I thought that was an interesting play. I thought you've seen the Bengals beat themselves a couple times in this football game. We've seen early in the game, the false starts, the delay of games, the offsides. There wasn't offsides. The delay of game false starts, so that kind of put them in these 3rd or down in distances early. Contribution to the crowd noise, of course, there, the home field advantage for Kansas City. But we did see the Bengals make a couple plays like that in this game. And I think they had multiple chances to try to, again, win this football game. We've seen that they was struggling to protect the quarterback, and that was a big issue here. Kansas City seemed to have a much better pass rush. Chris Jones and company wreaking havoc on that Bengals offensive line this time around. And it is what it is. Kansas City won this football game, an excellent football team. Bengals had their chances. And, we don't ever like to look back and say, let's blame the officials for this and this and this, even though, they were making calls in crucial situations of this game. the Bengals had a chance to put themselves in a good position, a very good position to win this football game because this defense played very well throughout this football game. Unfortunately, Bengals got to end in the AFC title game with a loss. And, hey, 2 straight years, Bengals make the AFC championship game. Not too shabby. 1 Super Bowl appearance, 2 AFC championship games. You'll wonder what this team does if they can start winning some more games in a regular season to where they're getting that number 1 seed, potentially, here. And then you say, oh, it's a completely different story entering these games. Right now, they're making a living winning on the road. Excellent. Excellent team to be winning, beating these number 1 and number 2 seeds on the road. But you talk about getting that home field advantage in your favor, making these other teams come and try to beat you in your place, completely different story. And again, I just think Bengals are looking really good. This is a team that was 4-4. Remember halfway through the season, 4-4, offensive line couldn't protect anything. The Bengals were dealing with a lot of injuries. Jamar Chase was coming up around there. It's like, what's this team going to do? Then they go on to win every single game the rest of the season. And if that didn't solidify things to say this team's for real, it's not a fluke team. This wasn't a fluke to the Super Bowl last season. This team's for real. They play like a championship caliber team. They start off a little slow, but that's what teams do. But they figure it out the rest of the season. That's what championship football looks like. And you got to credit this coaching staff and this team for really figuring things out halfway through the season and just taking off. And going from where they was there to battling through this adversity, battling through the injuries, battling through whatever, and they get to the AFC championship game, and they was this close to winning the football game. Overall, really, really happy time, really good time to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I think, here. I mean, again, the window's closing for the cheap player window, if you will. You got next year, but to think of, it's ifs and buts, but if the Bengals offensive line is healthy in that Kansas City game, I don't think it was close. It could have been close, but I don't know if it would have been. I don't think it can be stressed enough how difficult it is as a quarterback to play a game like an AFC champ, a big game, with an offensive line that's makeshift. 3 guys down, constantly getting pressured, guys in your face. I think Joe Burrow is the best of the best when it comes to handling that pressure in the league right now. I really do. And you go out there and put this healthy line back in there that was playing throughout the season, starting to get better. You give this guy time to pick apart Kansas City's defense. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think he was going to do it. And if there's one thing to really, really look forward to for this Cincinnati Bengals team in the future, is just seeing how unstoppable this team became when that offensive line was starting to gel. When their offensive line was protecting Joe Burrow. You cannot, you can't. I can't imagine teams stopping Joe Burrow and company next season if that offensive line plays the way it did this season. They're going to have another year of T. They're going to have another year of Jamar still under the cap here until we see what really starts going on in a year or two after this, where these guys start being owed money. But definitely, there's definitely one thing we're looking forward to. That's how much Joe Burrow, who was already an elite quarterback last season, it seems like he's progressed and gotten even better this season at reading defenses, making the big throws. The big throws, again, one of the best in the league at it. He just puts the ball where only his guys can get it. We've seen it again time and time in this last football game. And it's an exciting time to be a Bengals fan. May have not seen the outcome we wanted against the Kansas City Chiefs this season. Kansas City Chiefs, really good football team. 5 straight conference championships. The way Patrick Mahomes has been playing, and to see this team knock that team off 3 times, nearly did it a 4th. You have to be really, really excited if you're a Bengals fan right now to see the Bengals compete with the top dog like that, knowing they can go into these football games year in and year out where it's going to be a classic between these 2 teams and they can compete, knowing it's not a fluke after doing it 2 straight seasons. I'm excited. I'm excited for what the Bengals have next season. It was an exciting season to watch this season. Really enjoyed this game. Really enjoyed watching these guys play. And can't wait to see what's going to be coming here in the future for these guys. As always, I love you guys' thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.